Ciao ragazzi, in tonight's episode myself and Jake will look back on that 0-0 draw with Shakhtar Donetsk in the Champions League in the match day 6 of the Champions League. But before we get into the video, don't forget to like and subscribe and let us know what you think in the comments below. It's a decent first half from Inter. They came out, they looked controlled, they looked like they were just taking their time to sort of feel their way into the game. Lautaro had that great chance that hit the bar. He also had another header that was straight at the keeper. It could have gone either side of him. Unfortunately, we just couldn't find that breakthrough. The team looked solid. They looked in good shape. They looked balanced. Hakimi was causing some problems down the right. Lukaku and Lautaro at front were sort of creating some things between them, and in the midfield, Barella was up and down and around all over the pitch, creating, crossing, tackling, battling as he always does. And to say that he was touch and go to whether he could even be on the bench, let alone start, he looked in good shape in that first half. Brozovic looks like he can control the game again, dictate the tempo from that sort of central role in the midfield, and the defence looks solid as always. So it was a disappointing first half in the sense that the only thing they're lacking was the goal. The team looked composed, they looked calm, they looked not sort of up against it in this first half. They looked very much in control, and it was just a shame not to get that breakthrough. And Shakhtar really created very little. They had one long shot really that didn't even trouble Handanovic. So it was just very disappointing not to get that goal before half time, which would have sort of eased the confidence. And at the time, knowing Real Madrid were winning, it was sort of it was a good chance to go ahead and be in the driving seat to go forward and try and get qualification to the last 16. But it was one of those games, and it was one of those halves that Inter could easily have scored 3 or 4 in that first half, or just like in the reverse fixture, it was just goalless and unfortunate, and one of those games where Inter could have played that first half over and over again, and they still wouldn't have scored.
Well, the Pink Hoodie's lost its magic now officially. That's Champions League football over for another season at least, and what a disappointing way for the campaign to end. Ultimately not good enough. 2-0 against Shakhtar, the weakest team in the group on paper, when Mönchengladbach can put 10 past them. In all honesty, they've been quite lucky to get as close as what they have, considering some of the performances in the Champions League this season, but in terms of the bigger picture, it's just not good enough. If Inter wants to return to the top 10 and be a top European side, they can't afford to be knocked out of the knockout stage season after season. That's 3 years in a row now where they've gone into the last game with something to play for, with it pretty much in their hands. I know tonight they were relying on the results, but they were going in their favour and they've just messed it up. In terms of the game itself, I don't think they could have done that much more. They knocked on the door all game, chance after chance. The chance at the end with the header from Sanchez that deflected off Lukaku just about summed it all up, really. In a game like that, though, when you're chasing it and the other team are killing it, time wasting, going down, feigning injuries, it does make it difficult. But 90 minutes at home against Shakhtar, you fancy them to score at least one goal. Lautaro Martinez is possibly the biggest culprit in terms of chances missed. Had that chance in the first half at the crossbar, we might be saying something different, but overall it's just really, really disappointing. They didn't quite do enough. Wasn't for lack of trying. I thought the subs that the manager made, although they didn't really come off, were showing that he was trying. Ericsson looked quite good when he came on, I thought as well. He was unlucky not to score that chance at the end. But it's just really, really disappointing. Back to focusing on the league, it seems. If I'm pushed to pick a top for this one, it's got to be that Inter won't have to play in the Europa League this season. That's my top for the match. That's the biggest positive I can take from this. Not having to play in the Europa League means less games on the schedule in what's already a really tough season due to obviously the coronavirus situation. So them being out of the Europa League is a bonus for me. I think last year having a run at it was really nice to see, seeing Inter within a chance of winning a European trophy. But they've been there and done that now. And, adding more games to the schedule this year when the league's now got to be the priority is unnecessary. So for me, the biggest positive from the game is the fact that they don't have to play in the Europa League now this season. If I'm pushed to pick a player, I thought contributed really well. I'm probably going to stick with Alexis Sanchez based on just the second half. I know he was only on the pitch for a short amount of time, but he had another dimension. He was unlucky not to score what would have been the winning goal for Inter. And he should definitely have been introduced sort of 10-15 minutes early. He was really creative, added something extra in terms of a link between midfield and attack. I know the system was a little bit all over the place, but he helped create a few chances. So for me, Alexis Sanchez was the best player for Inter in the sort of definitely the latter part of that second half. I know he was only on the pitch for a short time, but he probably made the most impact. So yeah, it's just really, really disappointing, to be honest with you. It's really hard to pick a positive, but at least now Inter can focus on the league and possibly have a stab at the Coppa Italia to get some silverware back to Milan for the first time in 9 years, since it won't be the Champions League.
Yeah, I think the flop for me tonight is just Inter's Champions League. I think we're just doomed to never get out of this group stage. There's 3 years in a row. 3 years we've gone out on the last day. And it seems to be getting worse. At least the first year, we went out on head-to-head to Tottenham. Last year it was the point against Dortmund. And this year we're way back. And I mean, I don't even put blame on tonight. 0-0 against Shakhtar once is fine. I mean, they're a team that against us and Real Madrid have just caused problems, and they just gave up against Mönchengladbach, obviously. But against us, they just sort of were happy to condemn. I mean, just a time waste in a game when they need to win to qualify, and to celebrate a draw, a 0-0 draw to give them the Europa League just says everything, the type of side you're playing. So tonight, I mean, the disappointment for me was the first half of the Champions League campaign, the first 3 games. You can't come out of those first 2 games with 2 points and then not get anything against Real Madrid. I mean, so for me, the flop today is just the whole Champions League campaign, and there may be a bit of a cop out, but it's just so disappointing. I mean, it's just, yeah, I can't put into words how frustrating it is to once again go out in the group stage, in a group where when we were drawn against them in August, we all thought this is the one, this is the time, this is the year, this is the chance we can get out of the group. We've got 2 winnable games against Mönchengladbach and Shakhtar Donetsk, and yet here we are coming bottom of the group with 6 points from 6 games. Yeah, that's my flop.